I saw that you wanted to talk about mental health today. What made you want to interview about that topic?
Um, it's mostly that I've been seeking out mental health resources for as long as I can remember, as long as I can remember having that option. So the first time I sought out, a counselor or some sort of mental health resource, was through the school. I went to boarding school when I was in middle school, so it was through that school. And before then, it had never been an option. And ever since then, I'd been moving schools a lot, and every time I moved schools or moved cities, or it always became my mission to find a counselor or a psychiatrist or someone to kind of help support me through whatever transition I was going through. But first, and I've been doing this since for about 8 years now, and in all that time, I was never able to stick to one counselor, one psychiatrist, one therapist, and a lot of the differences between some of these designations, like a psychiatrist is different from a therapist is different from a counselor. A lot of this I had to find out on my own. Um, and, it was through the process of going from one to another, to another, to another, to another. And I finally got to a point where I think where I know what I need. But I don't understand why it took 8 years of, seeking out one professional after another to finally be able to find something that works or find something that sticks. And it doesn't make sense to me, and it's very frustrating that it would take so long. And over time, by trying to be introspective, trying to advocate for myself, and trying to really understand what I need and how a professional can help me, it took a long time for me to realize that it took a long time for me to realize that parts of my identity kind of um, factored in here, where I didn't realize that a white counselor wouldn't be able to resonate with me, where someone who doesn't understand maybe my faith or the cultural background that I come from would come at me with judgment. And these are things that I had to kind of, learn through a process of trial and error. And it's just so frustrating to have for because I feel like I've been trying to advocate for myself as long as I can, and that I've still been struggling to find that support. And after all this time and finally finding something that works, I was actually diagnosed with ADHD, and I've been struggling with school for a long time. And to feel like I've almost failed so many times, almost, gone down to really dark places because of that failure so many times, and being able to finally realize that that was because of something out of my control, that was because of something that was, because of a mental health problem that could have been addressed by any one of these professionals. And in this time span, I think I saw about 10 mental health professionals, and that none of them brought anything up like that, besides the last few that I've been seeing. And the psychiatrist that actually diagnosed me, I'd only seen him for about 4 to 5 sessions until he was able to make this diagnosis and kind of you know give me some medication to see if it works, and finally finding that that has kind of been one of the core issues all along. And it frustrates me because you're like, you learn that if you advocate for yourself you can find these solutions, but why did it take so long when I've been trying to advocate for myself all this time? And just so much of what I've learned on how to take care of myself has simply come through from trial and error, or just constantly pushing myself to find ways to support myself when there was nothing around, I guess. And in this process of kind of trying to understand how all these pieces fit together, my identity, a cultural context, a social context, and like kind of the resources that I have available to me, and kind of talking to all of these professionals and trying to gather the information myself, I've found that one of the reasons that I wasn't diagnosed earlier, or didn't get more help that I might have needed before, one of the reasons is because of the lack of research that there is, say around ADHD for women. Because, and then when I went on to do my own research, I found that women are disproportionately undiagnosed, and that so many women go into adulthood, have children of their own, and have sons that get diagnosed with ADHD. And in their late years, they find out that they have had ADHD all along and were never able to manage it. Spent their lives, feeling like a failure, and oftentimes worse. Many people with ADHD um, often like fall into addiction and other they often like drop out of school. And it's just I'm just continually frustrated, because maybe this could have maybe if someone, maybe if the research was there, maybe if women were valued more in society and the research was there, maybe this could have been prevented, not just for myself but for so many others. And it's at a point, like, how much can advocating for yourself get for you or for the people around you? Like, it's frustrating, because how much can one person really do? And it seems like no matter what we do, we're powerless without the people who are actually, in power, going out of their way to, I guess, make space for people who are marginalized, people who don't have that, reach on their own.